fam, what is going on? How's everybody doing? Hit that like button for me. Hit that like button if you can. I would appreciate it. Got a slight headache. So keep that in mind. Anyway, listen, fam. Before I forget to say it, there is no show on Wednesday, for I will be in Louisville. And I'll try to retweet that. Because I don't think I tweeted out what's going to be happening and what's going to be going on. So please keep that in mind. There's no Wednesday show. If you know somebody who will be looking for a show and there will not be a show, please let them know. I would appreciate it. Now I'm looking for something that I cannot find. But please let everybody know if you know somebody who, like, you know, they're going to be waiting for it or whatever. And we're going to be discussing this book. So I thought that this should be our next book club book. I was going back through it today and I said, you know what? I think we talked about this book. And we brought it up before in many different contexts, but we never really, on the Breaking Brown show, I know Army had on, but we never really discussed the book. So let's just do one good and discuss this book, The Color of Money, Black Banks and the Racial Wealth Gap. Let's just do us. I don't have a date yet because I was thinking about doing it in late March, but I got to look because that's around the time of my birthday and see which date I want most. But I was thinking, if I'm going to do the book and I'm doing the book and we talking about the book this week in Louisville, like, why not do the book? Because it's a quick read. This is not like something you're going, like the last thing was really, really hard. It was really, really rough. And all books about history are really, really rough in a sense. But this one it's got all the information, but it's not as heavy a read, if that makes sense. Like, I think affirmative action, when affirmative action was white, was a heavier read, a more denser read. And I don't know if we we did officially do that one. But I don't think we ever officially did this one. I'm losing count of my books, but I think we should, because we talked about it before. Like, you know, we've talked about it. We've had we never really did the book. So that's going to be a book. Pin that. We're going to discuss this and have a whole conversation about it. So just keep that in mind. Please go to, if you want to donate, go to donatebrown.com or patreon.com/ycornell. But please hit that like button while you're in there right now. Cost you no money to do it. Cost you no money to just hit that like button real quick and get it in, get it out. Hit the like. You can go to subscribetobrown.com and give me your email too. Cost you nothing. Wonderful contribution to have your email in case I need to contact you directly. Cost you nothing. Subscribetobrown.com. I would appreciate it if you would do that. What else do we have? Hit that bell if you haven't hit that bell. Hit that bell so you get notifications. Somebody said the bell worked tonight, so good. Hit the bell for me. All right, if you have not subscribed, please subscribe for me. I would appreciate that as well. So look, fam, we're going to have today what's kind of like, I would basically call it how come the green didn't come out? I tell you, boy. Anyway, we're going to have what we basically would call like a virtual kind of town hall. So I'm going to wrap up quicker than usual because I want to discuss. Now, listen, please. Keep it to this topic for today. We're discussing this topic for today. Keep it to this topic and keep it concise. Every show, there are a bunch of people who want to get in but can't get in because, you know, sometimes we don't keep it as tight as we need to keep it. Sometimes it takes you a minute to say some stuff, but sometimes we could just be more concise and surgical in terms of how we articulate our thoughts. So let's just be mindful of other people who want to come in and be a part of the conversation. I'm going to say my piece, but I don't want people to, I don't like it when people are like, well, you know, Yvette and them, they don't discuss nothing with nobody, and I don't know why she like that. She's divisive and mean old rascal. So I think today we're going to have a little discussion, but let me just start. I'm not going to call no names, nothing like that. I'm not trying to shout nobody down. I'm in a good mood. So, except for the headache. So there was a discussion, I'll just say it that way. For those of you who didn't see it, somebody tell everybody what we're talking about starting a PAC and getting black celebrities in on an ADOS PAC. And the discussion was about, we're going to do the PAC, and part of the reason we can't do the PAC is because Yvette and Antonio are so divisive. They are so divisive in terms of celebrities and how they talk about celebrities. We could get some monies up in here if it wasn't for these two. And it don't even belong to just them. It belongs to everybody. And they should just do what's necessary to allow us to get the monies in. Well, here's the thing. Let me see. Let me make sure I have something I want to bring up. Because there's a lot to talk about, family. There's just, it's just, maybe that's how I got the headache. But I want to just remind everybody the context that we're in while we're talking. Let's just do a quick little review. Not nothing big, but we're in the context of both Diddy and Byron Allen. Diddy has been the representation of aspiration, and he had his own record company, which really wasn't like his company. But nobody told us that, and he was supposed to have Revolt TV that was going to be inclusion, and he came out and said the same thing Byron Allen said. You had Byron Allen and Diddy, both a billionaire, supposed to be two billionaires, both coming out and saying they've been shut out by Comcast. This is the environment that black wealth, what little that we do have, this is the environment that it is in right now. Just understand that, not regular Negroes. This is the environment of black wealth. The best of black wealth is in this kind of constrained environment right now. That's the environment that we're in. Okay? I want you to just keep that in mind as we talk about this. Now, I want you to keep a couple of other things in mind as well. When we talk about, well, Antonio and Yvette should do X, Y, and Z, I want everybody to understand one thing. So you have to keep in mind that the context that we're in, and keep in mind how this started and who we are, right? So this article by Antonio was written a while ago. Let me see, what's the date on that? 2017, the Decadent Veil. See, I'm just showing everybody that we haven't changed at all. Like in terms of what we stand for and what we're trying to do, we haven't changed. We haven't shifted and changed the game plan. We have always said that it has to be this way. I just want to bring up a quote really quick from Antonio's Decadent Veil, just so we understand each other. The veil created by mass media, sports organizations, and our own psyche in Black America is one of safety through presentation. It is an inversion of the same model implemented by Dr. Martin Luther King so many years ago, except where Dr. King instilled global empathy by showing images of Bull Connor's disciples water hosing black teenagers. Instead, the NBA commissions Adam Silver Commissioner Adam Silver hands black teenagers $1 million deals, and ESPN then projects that as a normal image of black life across the globe, creating creating apathy for Black America's true dire financial straits. So what we're talking about here, understand, we're talking about social engineering. We're not talking about a hatred of black celebrities. We're not talking about a dislike of black celebrities. We're talking about how they are weaponized within white supremacy. That's what we're talking about. Through white supremacist institutions throughout America, how black celebrity is weaponized. One last quote. Even though their numbers are infinitesimal in comparison to the whole of Black America, the 21st century $1 million black celebrities image has grown to a point of normalcy in homes across the world. So much so that the lives of those struggling financially in urban centers across America have become overcast by the projection of these larger than life individual brands. The issue is our veiled mask, glazed with decadent trim, has in so many ways hidden the true consequence of our historical scars. Without the veil removed, we project progress that has not yet occurred, and in doing so perpetuate an illusion that may in the end destroy us all. You have to understand that. You have to understand that. And that was 2014, not 2017. I don't know whether they updated or whatever. So, or just couldn't see it good. Or I just couldn't see it good. Either way, let me just say this. You have to stop. The first thing you have to do if you talk about, well, should we go get celebrities? You have to stop painting like what we say about black celebrities as if that is some kind of personal animus. No, we hate how you are used within the structure. And let me just ask you something. If you are being used within that structure and you are successful in that structure, like you get something in exchange, you get to be wealthy, but this structure is rewarding you because it makes you wealthy. Why would you want to really upend the structure? Now, that doesn't mean you don't want to do good. Doesn't mean you don't want to do good stuff. It doesn't mean that at all. And I'm not saying there are black celebrities who don't want to do good things or have not done good things. But why would you? What we're talking about is a transformational switching up of the hierarchy. If you benefit from the hierarchy, I'm trying to figure out. I'm trying to figure out if you benefit. If you benefit from this hierarchy, why does anyone believe that they're going to want to upend the structure? See, the thing is, you don't understand that that's what has to happen. Everybody who's saying that, you don't understand that what has to happen is a total shift. You have to basically turn America on its head, because America has always eaten off of our failure. That's part of what happened. That's part of what happened with cotton growing. Do you think it was just because white people hated us that we had to still grow cotton and we got re-enslaved and all them peonage farms and all that stuff and we had to grow cotton? No, they didn't want us to do it, partly because, listen, the whole world needed cotton. We need you Negroes to do cotton farming. We don't need you growing vegetables for yourself. We don't need you doing stuff for yourself. The last thing we need is another Haiti. They stop doing sugar. We need that. You got to keep doing that. So y'all done freed them, but you can't really free them. Right? You freed them, but nah, not really. We can't really free them, because if we do that, that upends everything. And so if you do this, you upend the whole apple cart. You can't do that. If you are a part, I don't know how you can. You can show me. I'll let y'all call in after a while and tell me how you can. But I can't see how you can do that if you are a part of the structure that benefits from the structure more than the rest of us. I'm trying to figure that out, and I'm going to let y'all explain it to me. Understand that even the Diddy, when you look at the Diddy, what Diddy said, what he said comes off of Antonio and Byron Allen, and it comes off of their relationship and what was said, and that's what it comes off of. Right? That's what you get out of it. That is an offshoot of ADOS. Now, you can't, though. What you can't do is deny that we caused that shift. What you can't do is deny that Antonio's relationship and with Byron and Byron's relationship with Diddy, and that trickling down of information and wealth, and Byron's telling us what happens and being excluded as a billionaire, and we're talking about the data that made that happen. But instead of leading in this space, when you say we should go chase celebrities and not make them upset, you want us to be followers in this space. None of it works if we are followers in this space. We can't be followers in this space. We can't follow black celebrities. And don't say, well, Yvette, I'm not asking you to be a follower. If you're asking me to do something in such a way that doesn't upset a black celebrity, you're asking me to follow their lead. It doesn't work that way. People say power to the people for a reason. The power is in the people. The power is not in the celebrity. When you saw celebrities, whether it was Marian Anderson or whether it was Harry Belafonte with Dr. King, they weren't telling Dr. King what to do. They weren't telling Dr. King, well, you start a nonprofit and we'll follow you. Now, we don't know what we end up doing here, but they weren't. Dr. King was leading that movement. You don't get to tell me to do something to not make you upset. You're living the life of Riley and you want me to move in a way that doesn't make you upset. You know why you want that? Because you want to remain in a space where you get to project a good brand for yourself. And you can do brand management and it looks good. You know, it looks good if you say, we just want to end racial discrimination. It doesn't look good for you in terms of your brand management. Most of the times, if you say, listen, we want to end whiteness in this country. And we want not white empathy. We don't want white NGOs to say, oh, we feel so sorry. We want you to sacrifice. Because you have gotten a life you don't deserve. Just by the idea of whiteness affords you a life you don't deserve, even if you're poor. You have the opportunity to be rich, even if we have less mobility in this country. Whiteness has its own kind of, what do you want to call it? Its own inheritance. Well, we were denied our inheritance and we want a reckoning. We're here for a reckoning. When you start talking like that, you're going to make every celebrity scurry just about. Even those who will quietly tell you they support you, yeah, but the people who control the whole industry that they work in are not us. So they move in a different way. See, there's a way. Let me just say this. There's a way that you have to. There's a way that you have to come into a room. And I say that because of this. We see black celebrities do good things all the time, right? Don't we? We see T.I. giving away turkeys. We see them do individual acts all the time, and I applaud it. If you do, that's wonderful. But I think we have to, at a certain point, start to differentiate between individual acts of charity and transformative acts of collective empowerment and collective black empowerment and black movement, right? One of these things, when T.I. gives away turkeys, it's wonderful. People don't have it. You don't have money. Money's hard to come by. I'm not saying that's a bad thing at all. What I'm saying is this. These are individual acts. These are transformative acts. These are not transformative acts. These are acts that they enhance his brand. People like T.I. more, right? Because of he's a rapper and he said some stuff, but I see him giving away turkeys. I'm just saying these things are good for T.I. as well as the people who got the turkeys. That's all I'm saying. Everybody benefited. He benefited. They benefited. Getting involved in a divisive movement is another thing. And some people are like, well, Yvette, we're not divisive. Yes, we are. And I've said this before. It's not our fault we're divisive. We didn't do anything to put ourselves in a divisive space. Nobody did the work before we got here. It's almost like King got shot and assassinated and Negroes took off and tucked tail and ducked and run. That's not our fault, but that's where we are. So we're at a space where everybody can come in here and tell us what we don't deserve. Everybody can come in here and tell us they're going to redistribute our reparations. Right? Well, you don't need it. What you need it for? I think we should just give reparations to everybody through a universal basic income. Well, that's wonderful, but what about this has to happen first? That has to be... No. No, you're going to tell me what I need. Right? You see a lot of these individual kinds of acts of charity. Because individual acts do not transform the hierarchy of power in America. They do not transform us and take us from the bottom to the upper middle. Right? And give us ownership. They do not take us back and give us a Reconstruction 2.0 because America failed us in Reconstruction 1.0. We were supposed to have a redistribution of land. It's supposed to be taken from the Confederates and given to us. It never happened. And celebrities can't make it happen. They can do individual acts of charity, and they should. Wonderful. But they can't make the transformative politics that we need to happen. And if we get led by them, we are walking into a problem, not into a solution. We are walking into a problem, not into a solution. So the only, and I want to get this out of the way before I forget. You know, if you believe, if for whatever reason you believe that celebrities are the doorway and you have relationships with these celebrities, I don't know why you didn't leverage these relationships beforehand, but whatever, then you should do that under your own banner. And I'm not slighting you at all, because I want to know how it turns out. Let me know how it turns out. And I'll tell you one test you can do. One test you can do is, okay, I think I have 70,000 or something YouTube subscriber. Antonio has around the same. If you want to talk about collecting money and all that stuff and doing a PAC and then get some money with celebrities, here's an experiment for you. Go get 1 million YouTube subscribers. 1 million. Then I want you to do something else. After you get your 1 million YouTube subscribers, Because it shouldn't be hard, right? You're going to get millions of dollars from people and that shouldn't be hard. So, because that's also what I heard in the video. We could get $1 million. Okay. So, get 1 million subscribers and just get like $5 from your 1 million subscribers. Right? Get you like 5 million. If you can get more than that, if you can get 10 million, get it. And then start your PAC. And then compete with Bloomberg. I want to see how your 10, 20 million work against what Bloomberg got, like 60 billion? Because in terms of money, politics has become a billionaire boys club. And they wives, you know, we read the book, they all in it. But it's a white boys club. It's a billionaire white boys club. But I want to see, and if you're successful, if you pull off something that I don't anticipate, I will not hate on you. I will not be upset. I will not hold any kind of grudge. None. Not me. Who, me? Not me. Not me. Not me at all. See, let's just go back to these celebrities. I just had to say that while I was on my mind. But let's go back to these celebrities one more time. Even the good stuff that they do, because they can't do anything to transform anything by themselves, and most of them are not inclined, for reasons I just mentioned, to do it with someone else. But what they're doing is tackling the symptoms. So the symptoms of us being a bottom caste means that, like, I had a size 18 shoe. I can't find a shoe. And then if I did, I can't afford to be buying all these shoes. So somebody comes in, a black celebrity, to tackle the symptoms. All of this stuff is tackling symptoms and not the issue itself. All of this stuff is attacking the symptom. We don't need to attack the symptom, but everybody loves when you attack the symptom. Now, I don't have anything. I said it again because I don't want to come off no kind of way, and I'm tired of that. I don't have any problem with celebrities. I understand their limitations. Some of you think they don't have any. I know why they attack the symptoms. One, that's all they can do without sacrificing seriously with their career. That would take you have to be Muhammad Ali. And most of these Negroes ain't. But but attacking the symptom, it helps the person, the individual. It helps the individual that you give a turkey to or whatever. And the second thing that it does is your brand is enhanced by it. But it doesn't attack the root cause of what created a situation where we can't buy turkeys and we built the country. What created the situation? What created the situation where a kid can't just buy an 18 size shoe? Right? And just do what he want to do. What created a situation where we built the country, got to put stuff on layaway? What created that situation? See, dealing with the symptom is the easy part. That other stuff, that's the hard part. Transformative government, that's the hard part. That's what gets people in trouble. That's why Dr. King isn't here. That's the hard part. Nobody wants to be a part of the hard part, especially people who are benefiting from the current structure. They can't save you. And not only can they not save you, you can't come in a room like that. You can't come in the room needing stuff. Celebrities got to come to you because either they feel so passionately about what you're doing or they got to come to you. I don't think we understand how to walk into a room. You don't walk into a room asking for stuff and begging for stuff. I'm not talking about government. Government, you pay taxes. That's supposed to be ours anyway. I'm talking about you can't come into a room with somebody. Well, I sure do need. We sure could use. I mean, if you had 100,000 or if y'all could get a room together, you can't. No, you prostituting yourself at that point. You can't come into a room like that. You got to come into a room with Negroes all at your back. I'm talking about you are forced to be reckoned with, and when you are forced to be reckoned with, can nobody, that's undeniable. Well, shoot, we can't not talk to them. We gotta reach out to them. They got a bunch of people doing real good work. We gotta find them. You have to be in that space. That's what creates what we need. You have to walk into the room with wind at your back. I have said that before. You cannot walk into a room with 70,000 or whatever Negroes and just be like, well, this is what we need. I sure would help it. And put your hat. I got my hat in the hand. Arms for the poor. No, you don't walk into a room like that. You walk into a room with leverage. You don't negotiate on the back. You don't negotiate when you underfoot. We would do better at this point doing teach-ins than doing Black Celebrity. We would do better at this point. Just teaching everybody, reading all the books, we would do better having a political education movement right now than doing that stuff that you're talking about. And let me ask you another question. Let me ask you this. Let me just ask something. Throw it out there. If let's say you did something, you got $300,000. I don't know, $500,000. You got $500,000 in your pack. Let's say I'm just gonna put it out. Let's say you got a congressperson elected, right? Kudos, congratulations. You spent that $500,000 to get them elected. You don't have another $500,000. What prevents that congressperson from throwing you away? I'm asking, what prevents us? We don't have people power because we haven't grown the mass that we need to really shake up everything. Because we've shaken up everything that we could in this process with reparations. We did the best we could. And we're going to vote down ballot. We're going to put nobody in the White House who don't be on our agenda. We're doing the best we can with what we have. What makes you think that if you get if you put somebody, an ADOS agenda candidate in office, once they get there, and they see all the Bloomberg money versus the money that you don't have no more, what makes you think you keep them there for you? What makes you think you don't just waste $500,000 and they walk away? Because they got new money, they're their congressperson, they don't need you like that no more. They might say, well, we're going to bring some money back to the district, but we can't really do ADOS the same way. You know, we have to, we in Congress now, we have to negotiate and we have to grease palms and we have to do all this stuff. So we can't do it like you want to do it no more. We still going to be supported, but they got your $500,000. And you can't give it directly like that, but you know what I mean. You can do it as a fundraiser. All kind of little weird stuff you can do that you should be able to do. But let me just, what do you do? What leverage do you have if you don't have numbers? You need to be able to say, well, we're going to keep people home. If you're not going to do this for us, we're going to keep people home. All of our people who have political education and who go by our ADOS voting agenda, right? They not vote for you. If we put it out on the little list of candidates, then you won't get elected. But you have to have people to make that happen. See, we already don't have money. The only power we got is people power. You run around talking about money, everybody trying to put the cart before the horse, and we're gonna do this, and it's imagination street. And if you disagree, you can call in, but we need ADOS ambassadors. We don't need a super PAC. We need this to be your life's work. We need you to spread this message. We need you to spread this politics. But everybody want to be famous, and everybody better be on TV. Everybody want to be on Capitol Hill. Let me just tell you, it's overrated. Everybody, we all do what we have to do, but all that stuff when you be trying to be a star or whatever, it's overrated. At a certain point, you just got to sit down and say, what is best for my people? Like, what is this thing that is best for the people that I deal with and I love? What do I do for them? And let me just bring it back for a second as we're talking about money. Let me see if I can find it. This article came out probably in, I think it was November 2019. I can't remember, but it was a DeRay McKesson article. It was very interesting though. You can get some very interesting little tidbits from stuff. So the name of it was, in the 2010s, the Black Lives Matter started a revolution and a counter revolution. So they were talking about it. And let me just say this. He hit on something right here. Right here. He hit on something that was very interesting. Those of us who were there had no clue that the protest, they asked him what were the movement's mistakes. They asked DeRay McKesson, what were the movement's mistakes? And sometimes people tell the truth, regardless of what they've done. Those of us who were there had no clue that the protests had resonated so deeply with so many people across the country. But I think there were a lot of people in the nonprofit space that understood it really well. And they understood that this could be a cash cow. I remember when they came to St. Louis and had this convening. We walked in the room and it was literally, if you need money, just ask us and we will find money for you. I just saw it tear away at this really interesting fabric we had woven together. Not everybody loved each other, because we certainly didn't, but we hadn't been fighting about money. Suddenly the money conversation became the conversation. That became the overriding fault line. If there's anything I would have changed, I wish that we had been a little more thoughtful about that. Understand that DeRay McKesson is also implicating himself. Let me tell y'all something. Be very careful, especially at this stage of ADOS, how desirous you are about money. How much you want to go and raise money. You want to destroy a movement and get Negroes fighting, throw a bunch of money in a room. Especially before we have a group and we've jailed around a set of principles. Understand that this ain't been no long time. We've been like late 2016 to 2020. Like, that's nothing. And it took us that long to realize that Boyce ain't got no sense. Like, it took us that long. We are a group that hasn't had anything. We are a bottom caste. Be very careful with money. Because sometimes the mainstream will throw money at you just to watch you fight. Because they know who you are, what you have, what you don't have, and what will come out of that fight over money. Now is not the time to throw a bunch of money at ADOS. Right? It's not that moment. We have not grown big enough. We have not congealed around an agenda, and we are not in control. We would not be steering our own car. It would be a cash grab. Everybody would be running for the dollar bills. If I wanted to run after money, I would have done it already. Hell, if I wanted to run after money, I would have done it doing Black Lives Matter. That's when the cash grabs came. Just run over there. I didn't run over there because that's not my thing. And you could see what was going to happen. You could see the trajectory of what was going to happen when those little nonprofit and white nonprofits came in there. They had big bags of cash. And Negroes were not ready. Turning down money over principle takes some practice. Takes some time. It takes for you to have to sit with yourself and deal with yourself. You have to be a person who puts meaning. And I don't even have kids, but you have to be a person that puts the future of your kids and the future of your community above the dollar bill you could snatch today. That's what it takes. And when I see people already talking about celebrities and raising money, I'm thinking one thing. I'm thinking you want the money for you. I don't think you doing all this stuff for whatever. I saw somebody on Twitter, we broke out here. If we broke, we got to go find people with the money. No, I think you want the money. I think you want the money, you want a job, you want something, you want the money. If that's the case, you should just say, I need some money. But this whole thing, where we're trying to do this whole money grab, this is a problem. This is not the space for this. This is not the time or the space to be doing this. You got to be clear what you're in here for. We can't be in here for nothing other than each other. Each other and the future and the life and the collective uplift. How many times have you heard me say collective uplift? We can't be in here for careerism. Well, I have relationships. Well, go do your relationships then. I'm not stopping you. I'm not stopping you from building on whatever relationships you have. But I bet you think you have relationships that you don't have because you don't have no wind at your back. We don't have money, so we got to have people. When you don't have money, you got to have people power. That's the only way it works. And we don't have enough. And if you walk in a room like that without people power, you end up just being somebody's employee. If you walk into Bloomberg's room right now, his office right now, and say you doing this ADOS thing and you trying to da-da-da-da-da-da, you're his employee now. You work for him. How am I helped by you doing what this white man tells you to do? How is ADOS helped by you doing what this billionaire white man tells you to do? You don't understand the value of independence? You want to work for somebody because if they have more money, they're giving you money, and you have nothing protecting you. You don't have a million Negroes or more than that around you protecting your interest. If you don't have that, you don't realize you work for that person now. How are we as a collective helped by you working for anybody? Now is the time to be independent. The only reason they can't get us is because we don't work for nobody. We don't work for the party. We're not trying to get on TV. We'll go if we need to. We will go. I will show up. Antonio will show up. I showed up ABC. Antonio showed up on Al Jazeera. We will show up if you ask us to come. But everybody knows that we're independent. Once you take that money without people backing you, you lose that independence. We're nothing if we're not independent. That's a leash. I don't want a leash. People are, when you look at black celebrities, it's celebrities in general to a certain extent, but it's worse for us in terms of what Antonio talked about with the decadent veil. Like they're put in place to maintain a certain social hierarchy and make us believe that we too can have it and be aspirational. That is the conversation that we've always had. I don't want to become a watered down nonprofit. I'm not saying that can't be a nonprofit or something might not be in the future at some time, but it can't be nothing I do or nothing we do or nothing Antonio and I do or we do or any of you. It can't be watered down. Our whole thing since the civil rights movement has been watered down. Well, we gotta have everybody, and we just gotta do solidarity for the sake of solidarity. Yeah, because somebody else is paying. I feel like sometimes we don't understand the cost of money. Money has a cost. You don't ever get free money. There's always an expectation. And when you're dealing with political money, it's even worse. That's a really big expectation. And that's a really tight leash. And when you're wearing a leash, you can't do nothing for yourself. Can't do nothing for your community, your family, or nothing. You work for somebody else now. It's over. I'm just saying. I wouldn't give away my power right now if I were you. Celebrities have to have their own political education and decide like what they're willing to sacrifice. I don't even know. I mean, because if you don't do it that way, we end up getting censored. Like you already self-censored yourself. You say, well, I don't want to say that because they say we already upsetting them. You done censored yourself and you ain't even got a dime. You haven't gotten any money yet and you already censored yourself. What do you think's going to happen after they give you a check? You're somebody's puppy. Puppy and puppet. You can't do anything for anybody with... I don't even understand. I don't understand. And if you start a nonprofit, you just become a space for them to park their capital. What good is that? I don't, again, Let me just say it again. We need people power. All money ain't the same. You need people power. There are always connections, always stuff with it. And it's about how you walking in that room. You can't be skipping steps. Everybody wants to skip steps and do a PAC so they can, everybody, I think I said this once before, but a friend told me something that was very interesting. He said, he said, never give money and power to somebody who desires it. And the context in which he told me that was somebody who had kind of come behind my back and said something negative about me to him, not knowing our relationship, because you never know who I know. And he said, I would never help this person because never give money and power to somebody who desires it. You always came in here not desiring it, and so I always wanted to be there for you. Please understand, you are going to fail if you come into this space trying to make money, trying to get money. You would be better off, like I said, doing a teach-in. You would be better off focused on political education. You would be better off. How many books on organizing have you read? How much organizing have you done? I see Marlon doing all kinds of organizing, right? In Chicago. ADOS Chicago, shout out to y'all. Y'all one of the most disciplined organizing ADOS chapters I've seen. How much of that have you done? But you have just decided in your mind that you could do a PAC. And you haven't even built up like a YouTube channel with, like, if you're going to do that, like if you can attract millions of dollars, you should definitely be able to attract millions of YouTubers. Or at least 1 million, because that's free. You're not even asking anybody necessarily to give anything. That's voluntary. You just hit the subscribe button. You gotta do, if you can't do that, like certain things mean certain things. If you can't do that, then you can't do the other thing. If you can't attract millions of, or at least 500,000 or 1 million YouTube subscribers, how are you going to do the next thing you're talking about? Those two things don't go together. Don't you see that? What are you talking about? And maybe if you can do it, do it. I haven't been able to do it. Right? Even though we're a group that should be immersed in politics, I haven't done it. But if you can do it, do it. That is a good... See, sometimes you have to do certain things to show you whether or not the field is right for the thing that you want to do. If you can do that, then maybe you can raise $1 million or $2 million. If you can do that. But then you got to compete against a billionaire. I want to know how that happens. I'm right here wanting to know. I want to know, like everybody else want to know, how does that happen? How does that happen? So anyway, fam, I said I was going to get out of here a little early so we can have the conversation. So I'm going to go to break. I'm going to come back in a few minutes and we're going to talk about this PAC, pros and cons. Be concise, but I want to hear what everybody has to say. I know some of you disagree. If you disagree, call in. If you're feeling froggy, you just better jump. So call in and we'll have the conversation. I want to hear, I want to see what everybody has to say and let's get into it. So give me a few minutes, 3 or 4 minutes, to set up the phones and we'll be right back. All right, fam. I ain't never seen the calls light up that fast. Y'all got there in 3 seconds. 3 seconds. So we're gonna have a conversation. I suppose. Let me make sure I turned it. Did I turn the music off? I couldn't remember whether or not I turned the music off, y'all. I'll tell you. Anyway, so let's go. We're gonna go to our first caller of the night. Hold on. Let me do some housekeeping real fast. Okay, let me see who we got here. Let me go back to the calls. Oh, you ever lose your little cursor? Look who's here. I'm going to 310. What's going on? I told you I wasn't taking no calls from California today.
What up? This is Tone Talk.
We know who it is.
I sent you a couple of emails with images.
I can't
to start off with the chart. So, I want to start off just saying this to everybody that is, talking about this on Twitter and responding. How we conduct ourselves amidst each other is a reflection to the rest of the world of how we think of ourselves. So I just say, no matter how you feel, outside of just straight disrespect, which is, some people can say they feel their way about this, I think it's important to use this as a measuristic of how we're going to actually respond to people when they do question the boundaries and they have issues that come about. Now, I don't think it was appropriate what they said, not only about celebrity, this video that I watched, but also the disrespect to the fact that we did create this movement and how we created it, because obviously you don't understand. And I'm not saying this as a disrespect to the woman or the man that was in the video, but I'm saying this as a straight response of how I feel about what me and Yvette did here and how this actually anchored. Because I don't think you guys understand the level of conversation, just because, and I can't tell you everything that I know for a fact, but I'm telling you, when you read Diddy's letter and then you go watch all of his videos, you ask me how he jumped from, Benjamin's to the letter that we saw with the Comcast, and then watch my videos and you fill the gaps in yourself. And I'm just saying to you that it comes to a point where there's a lot going on that you might not be aware of that challenges the very identity you created for yourself. And I say that out of love, not out of any kind of hate. And I'm saying that because you need to understand when you don't understand something and you're trying to teach somebody else. So if you can pull up that chart, because one of the things we showed this chart before, it sits basically from America's inception to 1990. All white people had as wealth was about $25 trillion. That's it.
I don't see the chart.
From 1990 to present day, they went from 25 trillion to 100 trillion. A chunk of that during Obama's presidency. It's important to understand that because the rise of the gap between blacks and whites expanded exponentially under the same era of the new black celebrity. See, I don't think there's an honesty about the whole setup and everything else, because I think that for a lot of people, what's happening is you're making up the world because you need the world to be a different world for your own identity to exist. Do we have that chart up? Because I kind of want to just... So, yeah, cool. So, your identity is built on a presumption that we almost home. Whether you know that you're saying that or not, what you're actually saying is that this chart is going the opposite direction. What you see is that from 1990 to present day, 1990 is basically we're in the middle of the Cosby Show. Oprah's show is on the air. You see the rise of hip hop. All of these things coincide with the gap, because what they did was, while they was increasing the gap, they made it so that we projected the identity of a Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, where black folks magically ran around with fairy dust that never happened. And now we're not guessing, and I'm telling you the truth, and I'm telling you that there's no space for this when we start talking about black celebrities. So now if you can pull up the other images, and I think it's important to do this, and I'm not doing this next part to at all say anything about myself other than I know this space probably better than you. I don't know this woman particularly, nor her background. But generally speaking, for most black people, you've not had the contact with black celebrity I had. And I'm just saying that straight because I talk to Yvette a lot of times about it. I bring her into spaces that I've been in that I can bring her into so she can actually hear it. I don't think we understand the numbers on why Revolt was struggling or what Puffy really had to drop into Revolt. I'm not guessing. I know the numbers. And you're talking about Puff Daddy, who is at near the top of black celebrity. But let me tell you this. You know who the number one black celebrity is right now in basically? It's Byron Allen. If you really wanted to know, you believe what you want. He owns the Weather Channel. Understand, in America, where we have parchment prison and we cut from slaves, Byron Allen owns the Weather Channel. And I'm saying to you, I'm not guessing about why and what he has done and how radical he's been. No matter what you think about how he sounds. Again, how radical he's been. And nor the impact of ADOS on allowing him to be radical. But you want to tell us about super PACs. I'm saying to you, I'm not doing this out of disrespect for you. You know, what's funny is looking like I probably look like your son. I probably look like, you know, your young cousin or your son. I'm not your son. I'm not here to be taught by nobody that don't know more than me. And there ain't a lot of people out here that know more than me in this space. Because what I'm doing is I'm talking to people that are doing this from Darity, who's a leading intergenerational economist, to Byron Allen, who pretty soon will be the richest black man in America and is near it right now, just with the Weather Channel. Just with the Weather Channel. But not just them two. See, when we talk about black celebrity, let's slow it all the way down, man. I'm telling you that from Fox to Snoop to Dre to Nick Cannon to Teddy Riley, I done sat with these people for hours while they bought dinner for me and we just talked about stuff. Teddy Riley and Dre got my copies of the new Jim Crow. I read it to Dre, the new Jim Crow. I tested the boundaries of what you're talking about. That's not our escape. That's not the answer. The answer is in politics. And the reason why I say that is because there's a limitation with black celebrity built in. It's like a fail-safe. That's just my belief of it all. I'm just telling you. You don't have to believe me, but just do something else then. Because that's not what we doing here. See, everybody wants to, I commend the local chapters for all of their work. I'm not here to control you or tell you what to do on that level. But part of what you might not understand is that without a national awakening just to the basic fact that we should exist, none of the other stuff matters. You can't do an awakening for a city that don't want to recognize that ADOS should be privileged over new groups that just got here. And I'm saying this because I'm starting to unpack this thing, and I'm hearing people talk about black celebrity, and I question whether anybody knows a black celebrity to the point where you sat with a black celebrity at their house for hours and talked to them. I talked to Jamie about Obama for hours at like 2 and 3 in the morning.
Jamie who?
I know how he was talking about Jamie Foxx. I talked to him for hours about Obama. I'm saying this to you because from what I gauge, from what I listen to, I realize the limitation of what we can do right now. And I'm not saying this to belittle what somebody else might want to do. That's just not ADOS. And that's okay. But you can't attack us in a video and then not expect us to respond. And I'm responding again out of love in the sense of I'm not telling anybody else to attack you or anything else. I'm just telling you that it comes to a point where I don't think we understand the limitations of the level of wealth that black people have. You know, a lot of people told me Byron Allen is only worth $300 million because Fortune said so, or Forbes. I didn't get my information from Forbes that he was a billionaire. I know he's a billionaire before everybody else. I'm telling you the same thing with Drake. Like, but what's happening is people are getting their information from little magazines. I'm telling you, we're not trying to be charity. We're not charity cases. Look at this, man. You was on the phone when we was driving to the ADOS conference, Byron on the phone. Mm-hmm. What happens is, today, not ADOS, business, black business, all of these black cable companies go to Comcast and say, I want to do a deal. Comcast tells them, you all can eat out of the $1 million from what we know, it don't even make sense what they're saying about millions being passed around. It don't make no sense. Not just speculative from the Federal Reserve data. I'm talking about from actual factuals, what people are making from having a channel on TV. Yep. Now you're talking about people that got tours or a TV show. These people on TV, look, these people on TV, it's only like 4 black people making $1 million a year, 4 or 5. It's not I just think part of this is that there's no concept of understanding race in America because of celebrity. It's like these people have multiplied celebrities and added $100 million to all of their accounts. That doesn't exist. And I'm saying this to you because I don't know if this is about celebrity. See, we were supposed to do Project Takeover. Our real problem is the NAACP and the Urban League telling Sprint that they did a great deal, and the NAACP leaving the steps of the Supreme Court. But you don't want to do that part. Go up into the NAACP and start shutting people down. You want to do some other answers. But that's the answer, not because we need the NAACP to change as much as we just need them to be quiet. Because they're using race and they're not about race. And when we talk about race, we're talking about Adolf. And I'm seeing the NBA, NBA All-Star Game come on a bit. I was telling you about it. Mm-hmm. They got a new format, y'all. Every quarter, the team that wins, they charity get $100,000. They got all the little black kids in there screaming and yelling for their charity. 2 charities. And end of the game, they done gave out $400,000 altogether, split it up between the charities based on the quarters and all that. All right. But they're not telling you that the NFL and the NBA, if you average them, the owners give 20 times more money to Republicans over Democrats. So the owners, the puppeteers, are giving 20 times more money to Republicans over Democrats. So you do policy that undermines the black community the kids are from, and then you do charity so that you can put it in a magazine that you gave charity, which is really just promotion, which is really just tax dollars that came from us. But you want Adolf to be one of those charities. Well, that's not what I'm asking. That is what you're asking. This is a transformation because I don't think we understand. What I need from you right now is to be an Adolf ambassador. But how can I really trust you to be an Adolf ambassador if you don't understand the decadent veil? This was 101 right there. This was the first. We started there. You struggling with the decadent veil? That's part of the reason that, and I'm saying it to the the sister that, she's not younger than me, the sister that did the video, that's why people were so frustrated with you. Because this is something that we all basically knew, what are you talking about? And I want to give everybody else a chance to come in here, but I want to end on saying this. Part of what we see is this elevation of celebrities without an understanding of celebrity. I'm telling this to you from Lit Fitness, talking to these people. When the whole Kobe Gail thing came out, it was on track to create a major issue for Gail. Sprout came out and said some wild stuff. Derailed the whole conversation, and now we ain't talking about it no more. But the elevation of the idea that because he's a celebrity, he should be held up here is just part of the problem. What's happening right now because of Adolf is a transformation that you might not understand. You got to understand that we took pity from all about the Benjamins to an honesty about Comcast, and that is fueled by Adolf through Byron Allen, who owns the Weather Channel. We are doing that. So then you might say the last question is, well, why can't you get $1 million from Byron Allen? Why can't you get $1 million? Because I don't need $1 million from Byron Allen. I need you to be an Adolf ambassador so that you can put me in a position where we have 1 million people not a million, asking a person for $1 million, 1,000,000 people making demands on Congress members across this country that we want $1 trillion from government. I'm going to leave it at that.
All right, Tone. Thank you as always for calling in. I appreciate you. I'm going to my next call. Gonna try to keep them coming so we get people. I know some people are trying to get in, so I'm gonna try to keep it coming. 424. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Hey, good evening, Yvette. This is Ishmael Bartley out of Riverside, California.
Hey.
AKA Kevin Cosby, AKA Kevin Cosby Jr. And there's only a little bit of gravy left on the plate after Tone, you know what I'm saying? So I'm going to take a biscuit. Ain't got no butter on it, but I'm going to take a biscuit and try to wipe that up real quick. When I saw the tweets today, I was torn between astonishment and pity. You know, Black celebrity has been responsible for the toxic ambition that has left the ideals and principles that our community should be built on in shambles. And if you have ever tried to rescue someone from the after effects of that toxic ambition that Black celebrity is responsible for planting in their mind, it's almost impossible to blow away those clouds of smoke. And it's even harder to instill within them the need to do politics, because politics is a long tail game. Politics is a game of reasoning. But what folks don't realize is that ADOS, with their boots on the ground, has taken a chicken sandwich, a bowl of soup, and gone to the Supreme Court and shaken the foundation of politics as we know it, shaken the foundation of electoral politics, and restructured the reasoning so much such that all they can do is try to ignore us. And even in their trying to ignore us, our argument keeps bubbling up to the top, because it is the most cogent and coherent system of thinking because we're doing it from our identity based on who we are and what we have, and that's 101. And we just thank you for giving us that 101 discipline. I'm gonna leave it right there. I go on. I'm gonna just leave it be.
Thanks, ma'am. I appreciate
God bless
it.
you, sis. Take care.
You take care as well, fam. Thank you so much. I am going now to 425. 425, what's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Good evening, Yvette. My name is Jennifer, and I am calling from Seattle. How are you doing this evening?
I'm doing pretty good. How about you?
I'm doing pretty good. Thank you for asking. So I wanted to say a couple things real quick. I'm a fan of yours. I watch your broadcast. I watch the conference, and I love the phrase, politics is an exchange.
Not a gift.
But my question to you is, I haven't seen any of the tweets. I haven't seen this new PAC. But I did want to ask you, what is essentially wrong in trying to spread the politics out of it?
I'm sorry. Say that one more time for me. Say that one more time for me. Say that one more time for me. I'm sorry.
Sure, no problem. Sorry. I don't see anything wrong with spreading out our reach of politics. So if you and Tone are doing what ADOS is doing to politics, which is what I see. I don't see anything wrong spreading our wings a bit. And I get it. We don't have a lot of money. I understand that. I really do. But we do have some. And I don't see anything wrong in, just like you pay your Hulu bill, putting a little money into a coffer. And because money literally talks everywhere in this country, that including politics. Politicians are bought and sold. I don't see a reason why we can't take our little pennies and put them together and form something that is for us, by us. You understand what I'm saying?
When you
I get what.
Let me just say this. We want to cover the New York Times with no budget. But let me just say this. As well. No budget. You can put your little pennies together all day. I'm not saying you can't. The question becomes, how effective are your pennies going to be? That's the question. How effective? And when you look at the numbers of, like, our channels will grow very slow. When you look at the numbers, the question is, if we put our pennies together, how effective are those pennies going to be? And how many pennies do like? Hold on. I'm gonna let you finish. I'm gonna let you finish. Hold on. I'm gonna let you finish. We're looking at ADOS has $8 in Boston, right? So we don't have very many pennies. Even if you put those pennies together, how many people are tuning in? I want you to just look at it. Like, now, just look at it right now. Look how many people are. 2,000 people in the chat right now. That's not a lot of people. I'm not saying I'm not trying to say anything bad, but I'm saying, like, of course I love everybody who's in there because I know people who are in there. But, like, that's not a lot of people. We're talking about effectiveness. How effective can we be with what we have? That's not effectiveness in a country where billionaires are being kingmakers. You got Steyer and Bloomberg who have kind of catapulted in South Carolina only because of money. That's it. Right. So what I'm talking about is effectiveness. I'm not saying Negroes have been trying to pool our money forever. When we did the Freedman Savings Bank, they stole all the money. Every time we try to pool the money, we don't have. Not only do we not have money, it's just. And then we've had this whole thing where the government has allowed us to be stolen from. So white wealth has outpaced us in a way that we can't even talk about. Our money is not effective against them.
I understand
okay, go ahead.
That, but I'm not talking about competing with them. I'm only talking about competing with them to get our foot in the door of politics. You let us get in there. Let us elect the alderman with that money. Let us elect, a senator representative. Let's do something. The chapters are doing amazing work, but when we want something on a national level to kind of pull it, like, that's our goal. Our goal is to create this super PAC so that we can begin to buy and sell posters like everybody else does. That's my only question to you. I don't see anything wrong. And again, I have not seen the tweets, but I don't see anything wrong with spreading the message of ADOS out everywhere.
Well, spread it. No. You don't need money to spread that message out. Like, here's the thing. We all come in contact with people every day. I don't care if I drop $5 million in your lap right now. If you don't have people power, you don't have anything. Because you can't just, if we're talking about transformational politics, it can't just be, and I agree we're getting an alderman elected or whatever the case may be. I'm all in favor of that. But I'm all in favor of that in terms of how that may affect Chicago or whatever city that's in. I'm all in favor of that, of doing good local politics. What I'm telling you, though, when we talk about the transformational change that we need, you're going to need people power. You're going to need people not only to pay for that alderman for his campaign, you're going to need people to go out and vote in mass. You're going to need to control voter turnout and control the agenda. What I'm telling you is that people are talking about the money and nobody's talking about what has to happen to get that person off in terms of the numbers. We're not just talking about, people say, well, Yvette, you just talking about it like this, like we can just put a bunch of money into it and we can get people out. You don't have enough money to do that. You have to educate people in terms of increasing turnout. You have to have an educated population to increase turnout. We don't have that. We don't even have people in mass that are interested in politics, even though politics is so instrumental in controlling the lives that we live and the bottom caste that we have. So that's what I say. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that we have put the apple before the cart. We haven't educated the masses. We haven't gotten them on board.
Is there a plan in place? Pardon me. Is there a plan in place once? Because if I'm honest with you, I know what the local chapters are doing. You know what I mean? But I don't know what's happening on a major level when it comes to ADOS.
In terms of money?
It's to your tone.
In terms of money?
No, ma'am. No. In terms of politics.
Okay. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, no. You're fine.
No, continue your statement. You were saying something.
Oh, right. Sorry. I just don't so I get what the chapters are doing. The chapters are amazing. But I hear you in tone. You say that this is transformational. This is that. But is there a direction that ADOS needs to go in order to make this happen? Like, what can we do at ADOS to make it up? That's my question.
Educate yourselves and the people around you. That's what you do. Like, everybody has to be everybody has to be anchored. Like, do you see the way, I don't know if you at the book club, but the way everybody, get somebody to go to the book club when we have book clubs, the way everybody understood, like if they were her property, everybody understood after reading that there is no kind of just alliance, no gender alliance. That it's stiffened our backs in terms of understanding we have to be a collective. That kind of stiffening in terms of we're in this together. That's what we need. We need that. So you know why we need that? When we get in a room with people who let's say they have some money. That's what prevents you from selling out. Understanding that and understanding I can't trust this woman. This woman in front of me talking right now, I cannot trust her because I read this book. I know what's going on. I know the game. That is what prevents you from selling out. When you get in these rooms, you have to have that education because history repeats itself, especially in ADOS life.
Okay. Well, I thank you for your time. But you have a great rest of your evening.
You too. I appreciate the conversation. Hold on one second. Let me see. I am going now to 681. 681. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
My name is Tanya. I'm calling from West Virginia. I was born in New York City. Under the Obama administration, during his first term, I asked my husband and his mother, could I add their names to a letter for reparations that I sent to President Obama? And so I told my family, I said, well, we got our guy in there, and you stupid if you don't ask him for nothing. And I saw so many black communities, no, we don't want no money, Obama. Well, John Connors, the congressman from Michigan, he had a bill on reparations, but Nancy Pelosi wouldn't let it come to the floor. And at that time, I believe the United States Senate, they drafted some kind of apology with no money. Now, I like you and Antonio's shows. I'm in the process of writing a book, and I've gotten a lot of my information. I got some of my information from you that I'm putting in my book. I've been writing this book for the last 3 years, and I think by the end of this year, I'll be getting my copyright, sending away for my copyrights on it. So I told some of my relatives about you and Antonio, Byron Allen, and P. Diddy. Also in my book, I play more like an advocate for different things that affected my life, such as mental health and private prisons, the Wilmington riots in 1899, I believe, things like that, alcoholism and so on. So I really have a lot of movie stars and what have you who are involved in different charity works for problems that they have. But under President Trump, when Nikki Haley was Secretary of State, I think she was, the UN had a report there was about 40 million Americans in extreme poverty. And I have all the statistics on the poverty level in the United States at that time, which President Trump was really angry about, and the United States went to deny it. So after a president has been out of office for 5 years, you can get the letters that you send in to your members of Congress or your president. However, that lady who I was just listening to, she doesn't understand that the Democrats, they have left the black community. Now, when I was in New York, there were several different races of people that I came in contact to, and everybody from these other countries thought that they were better than the American blacks. Some of it goes back to World War II with the black veterans over in Germany. The Germans loved the black soldiers. But the United States, we sent out notices that our black soldiers were like dogs and what have you. And that kind of reminds me of what Oprah and Gail are doing to Kobe Bryant. Just saying that the American blacks are nothing. And I find it really offensive. There's so many people from Africa and different parts of the world that come here to the United States of America, and they're trying to steal our history from us once again. We lost our history when we were brought over in the ships.
All right.
And a lot of us never got our history.
I understand. Let's wrap it up.
Came from and so on like that.
Okay.
And now
I appreciate you.
People today trying to steal our history from us again.
Thank you, man. I want to thank you for calling in.
Black people.
I appreciate the call. She wasn't stopping. I couldn't do nothing. She wasn't stopping. I got a bunch of people in here I got to get to. But I appreciate you calling me. I just couldn't get you to hear me to say that it's time to wrap it up. Sometimes y'all don't hear to wrap it up. But I'm going to the next call. I am going to 810. 810, what's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
It's Gerard Page from 81 Detroit. So real quick, Yvette, I haven't been to see the tweets, don't know all the context behind all of that, but I just want to make sure that we're not conflating PACs, because there's currently, as a chapter 80, a chapter we're currently trying to walk through and discover how we want to organize as a legal entity, because in the current question is, do we CO3 is a 501c3 or a 50c4, in which PACs do fall under a C4, and I don't want that to be conflated with us not wanting to do a PAC, which we weren't advocating, those of us who were advocating to be a C4, but it allows us to engage politicians to do political work versus a C3, which doesn't allow you to do that. And and our main thing is that we need to be a political organization, a legal entity. We have to incorporate as a nonprofit in the state of Michigan, and then the IRS, then vice versa, you have to get your IRS label after that, which there's only 29 of them, and the most apt is either 501c3 or C4. So I just want to understand what's the direction if I completely concur against the PAC idea, but we in order to do the political education, first we're having movie nights, things of that nature. That takes money. That takes a little bit of money. And
how many members would you say you have? How many members would you say you have there?
Currently, I believe we have about 50, but actively that's participating on any given day, probably about 20 that actually, consistently showing up and doing things. But we're holding events, we're doing different things, so on and so forth. And that.
You need a C4 for 20 members. Like, see, to me, that's not enough to really need that. Like, at this point, I don't think you've grown big enough. Y'all could go in together and get pizza. Even if you're doing an event, how many people were at your event?
The first event we had about 50 at the first event. The reason why so going back to whether numbers or not is that we have to be able to again, be able to do political action. We met with the Warren campaign here locally. We plan to meet with the Bloomberg campaign. We have to organize ourselves. We have to be a legal entity in which we have to choose a nonprofit, right? Because we're not making money. Anything we get in donations or anything we put into stuff or what have you to be able to rent a van, anything, we have to be an organization in order to do that. And so we have to choose IRS classification, and it's really only apt to do two, 5C3 or 4. So outside of that, what's your suggestion? If mine is wrong, I want to know what is the suggestion there. What is the
I just don't think you have a big enough. I don't think you have a big enough base to need any kind of entity. Like, and let me just say this. When you start, I just want to caution everybody. Now, I'm not going to tell you what to do, but I'm just going to caution everybody. Do you all know how many Negroes have gone to jail because of nonprofits? Like, just be very careful. Just be mindful and be very, very careful before you start saying we have to have a legal entity. What do we do if we don't have legal? Be very, very careful. Like, if you're gonna just drive somebody around, just do it. Like, if you're gonna buy pizza for something, just you give me $5. You give me $5. I give you $5. You only have 20 people and 50 people at an event. I think when you deal with nonprofits, every penny, every dime, every nickel has to be accounted for, or you can find yourself in a world of trouble. We have had many a Negro get caught up.
I'm sorry, Yvette. Go ahead.
Okay.
But my question is when we're approaching different people.
Who you approaching?
Well, I'm saying we're approaching candidates. We're approaching different entities, you know, to as far as our Black agenda, so on and so forth, right? How do we protect someone just ADOS Detroit who claims, you know, hey, I'm ADOS, that's a lineage, and we're from Detroit. How do we protect that versus, you know, from another group just co-opting who don't have any principles of ours, and, you know, let's say they're Pan-Africanists, but hey, they're ADOS and they're from Detroit. How do we do that? We have to be a political entity.
But I don't even think being a political entity protects that though, because you can do that.
Sorry, legal entity.
But you can do that. You can do that as a legal entity, and they can still come and say, "Well, I'm ADOS too," and they can say this Tariq nonsense, like it's just a lineage. I don't have to agree with everything you say. So
not if it's registered. Not if you're registered in Michigan. You can't do that. No, if we register before you can't do that.
Okay. If you like it, I love it.
I mean, not in the state of Michigan.
If you like it, I love it. Be very careful, though. Because there are a lot of... The only thing I'm trying to caution everybody against, there are a lot of accounting requirements and things of that nature when you do that. That's all I'm cautioning you with. That's all I'm cautioning. That's just a cautionary moment. That's all I'm saying. That you have to be ready with your accountant and everything. There's a lot of bookkeeping and stuff that goes along with that. That's a heavy lift. Now, I'm not telling you not to do it. What I'm telling you is, you know, the middle Black family is worth like $1,700, and I'm telling you that like there's a lot of stuff that comes with this that could become a burden. Now I understand, I totally understand what you're saying. I've seen the Pan-Africanists. Where are they at? Philadelphia somewhere? I don't know where. It's a lot of men that they just say whatever they want to say, you know. And when we started trying to copyright stuff, everybody said, "Oh, Yvette, that's just wrong. You wrong for that." And now you have all of this going on. And then the copyright told us another thing too. But that's too vague. And they had a whole bunch of things going on. So I understand what you're saying. But I'm just telling you to be aware of what comes with that, the risk and the reward. That's all I'm saying.
Thanks, Yvette. I appreciate your input, and definitely, obviously, this will be going back to our chapter for further discussion.
All right, appreciate you, ma'am. I appreciate you calling in.
Thank you.
I am going now to 562. 562. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
This is Angela Nirvana and Marlon Aldridge of the Friends of ADOS Super PAC. I thank you so much for taking my call, Yvette.
I sent you the pen. I want to have a discussion. I sent you the number to get through. Yeah, I want to have it. Let's talk about it.
Yes, indeed. Mm-hmm. I want to first of all thank you for taking the call. I also need to start with an apology. Someone totally took my show out of context and made this about raising money amongst celebrities in the Twitter space. Okay. And it's been hellish to try and let people know that I am ADOS SoCal proud, co-founder of the ADOS SoCal movement. I have nothing but love for you and Antonio Moore. I need to say that out the gate. I have been a fan of your show since 2014 when I was campaigning for Bernie Sanders. And I got a lot of political education from you. And the one thing you always said when we would constantly ask you, what is the solution? You turned it back on us and said we were the solution. So I got involved after the Russian bot narrative back in June of last year. L.A. ADOS and ADOS Cali, which was my movement, formed ADOS SoCal. Around October, we had some splintering happen. We had different ideas about the way the leadership should be run. And ADOS SoCal has been left to rebuild itself. In the meantime, my partner on the phone, physics professor and academician on the collegiate level, Marlon Aldridge, saw the activity and got excited about the ADOS movement. We came down to Kentucky, felt the love, gave you love, took photos with you and Tone, had a blast. Mm-hmm. And we got busy forming the Friends of ADOS Super PAC because what we found out very early on is that we got a string of extraordinary talented people that want to run for office and no money. No money. We can't compete with the DNC. We can't compete with the endorsements. So we formed the Friends of ADOS Super PAC. I started the Friends of ADOS TV show to enlighten people and just continuing your legacy, giving more voice to it. When Tyreek and Professor Black Truth and Voice came for you, I came for them. I was fine with you defending people, but I live in Los Angeles. I know people who know people. And the only thing I said that they managed to take out of context was sometimes, and I don't mind you being critical of celebrities, they deserve it in many instances. But sometimes I just mentioned that it can hinder on trying to raise money for the super PAC. We need a war chest. And I don't know any time like the present to start one, because we've got U.S. Senate candidate out of Georgia, Tamara Johnson-Shealy, who is struggling just to compete. We've got a candidate out of Houston, 5 candidates, one in particular, who's interested in talking to the board of the Friends of the Adolf Super PAC to get an endorsement because he wants to get on board or hear about the reparations and the Black agenda. And so we can't do anything without building a war chest, and we can't wait until the elections are over to do that when we've got candidates who need our support. And that's all we're trying to do. We may be wealthless, Yvette, but we're not incomeless. We've got the latest iPhones. Those of us that are really doing this work outside of the people that show up to the meetings, we have jobs and we have income. And we're trying to get the reparations, and we're trying to work within the ADOS movement, who has beautiful momentum to get it done. I'm trying to partner with the brightest, the best and the brightest in the nation to help get that infrastructure going, because there's so much splintering happening all over the country because we don't have a national federation. We don't have a state federation for the local chapters for all of us to get on the same page. I'll let you speak.
Let me just say this. You talked about the candidate in Georgia. Of course she's struggling. Like if your aim is to rescue struggling ADOS candidates, you can't rescue them with money. You rescue them on election day. You don't have the money. See, to say like we may be wealthless, but we're not incomeless. I don't think you understand. I don't know, and I don't want to be presumptuous. What that means. Like when we say Boston has $8, and when we talk about what Miami has, LA has, I can't remember the number. That's not enough money to build a war chest to have candidates run throughout the nation. We don't have a war chest because of our history in this country. You can have it now. If you organize people, you can have them show up for her and any other candidate. But you have to organize those people. Let me see what was the other thing I said. So of course she's struggling. I want to say something else. Like you say, like there are people in LA, and so we have relationships. What does that mean?
What that means is that there are people who actually want to contribute to the ADOS movement. They want to donate to the Super PAC, but the critiques of them makes them shy away from wanting to do that kind of work with ADOS. It's not just the critiques of them specifically, but at times there are critiques, and rightfully so. We're getting criticized in the media as being called Russian bots, being called disinformation campaign. And what I'm saying is, when do we start to build a war chest if we already see that Bloomberg and that kind of money can buy a whole election?
You're gonna catch up. You're gonna catch up with 60 billion. You're gonna catch up with 60 billion.
I may not be able to catch up with 60 billion, but we can start
then you lose.
Right where we are, Yvette.
Then you lose. If you don't have people power, then you lose. Your power is not in money. We don't like. I understand that the new Pew said that middle class income is $87K. Only 10% of black families have above that. We don't have the money. What we do have is the people. One person, one vote. Even with voter suppression, we can stay there all day and we can do all that. One person, one vote. But people power is hard.
How are you going to get the word out, though?
I'm sorry, who am I talking to? Who am I talking to? Who is this? Who am I talking to? I'd like to know who I'm talking to.
Wait, she doesn't know. That's Marlon Aldridge, co-founder of the Friends of ADOS Super PAC.
Okay.
Yeah, we're trying to. Sometimes we can use data, and data can sometimes lead us to make some wrong conclusions, to draw some wrong conclusions.
Is that right?
The Friends of ADOS PAC serves two purposes. The first purpose is to galvanize the synergy that's already been created across the country via local chapters, which fall under state chapters, state federations, that is, and then the federation chapters help to build the board for the national chapters. And our model is based off the National Federation of Republican Women, which has been around since the 1930s. So we're using models. You guys use data. We use.
But let me ask you this. Why would you model? Why would you model yourself after Republicans? Republicans have a lot of money. Why would you model yourself after? That's just a question I have.
Okay, the model that I'm talking about the infrastructure, the local chapters. We have 50 states, right?
No, I'm talking about the
territories.
Republican. You said we're modeling ourselves after. What was the National Federation of Republican Jezebels? What was it?
National Federation of Republican Women.
Okay.
Now, when I say the model, I'm really talking about the infrastructure, the way that they set out their local chapters up under federation, state federations, and then you have the national. So what you're going to have, this is a membership organization. And what we'd like to do is NAACP is not a super PAC. Now, I did hit something, a gentleman come on a little bit earlier, and this is part of the problem, too, is that we're really not understanding how political organizations work. You can organize at the state level for that and fall up under state compliance. You can organize up under the IRS. I did hear him say that. But when you start talking about 501c organizations, and I'm going to agree with you, there's a whole lot of work that goes with that. I ran a nonprofit since 2008, and there's a lot of compliance that goes with that. But there are other entities that you can form under that there's a lot of reporting, but there's going to be a lot less that you have to do to stay in compliance. Like, for instance, you have to file with the Secretary of State to even be licensed to do business. You have to get your employer identification number. And then if you want to file for tax-exempt status, I mean, there's a whole lot of money involved in that. 501c3, that's not even, you don't even want to think about that one. And then with the 501c4, there's a lot of limitations that go with that. You can't have political organizing as your campaigning and things of that nature as your primary business. There's called a 527 organization. That's filling out a sheet of paper. You don't have to pay any money, and you can go straight into collecting money to engage in political activities. See, we're registered with the Federal Elections Commission.
Yeah, but I hear you, but I don't want to do that. Like, that's not what I want to do. I understand. I understand the definitions of these different entities. You giving me definitions right now. I understand that, and I respect that. I don't want to do that. That's not part of the mission that I have in terms of forming PACs and 527s, especially not at this stage. Everything is about timing and stages. Because let me just say this: these celebrities think we're divisive because we think reparation goes to ADOS and not other black immigrants. There are a lot of reasons why they think we're divisive. Right? There's nothing I can do about that. I'm not changing that stance. So let's just throw that away. Right off the top, let's throw that away.
Well, why are we talking about celebrities? I mean,
it's not about celebrities for us at all.
Let me finish answer
okay, go ahead.
And I think the people that are the foot soldiers understand this. We need infrastructure, because with infrastructure comes two things that you can't get without infrastructure. Now, what I mean by infrastructure, I'm talking about being accountable before a court, being accountable before a board of directors, being accountable before government and other public agencies. That's what I mean by being accountable. That's where the infrastructure comes in. What we do, we can actually be hauled in court because of that. And there are reporting requirements, there are compliance requirements.
I understand that. I understand that, but that wasn't the crux of the conversation we had. Are you talking about the PAC? Because the crux of the video I saw was about a PAC and was about celebrities. It wasn't about 527s. It wasn't about C4s. It wasn't about C3s. That's the crux of the conversation I want to have.
Yes, it was taken totally out of context. Okay. We were talking about if the whole show had been put up there, you could have understood that there was a contributor to the PAC asking about how do we, go after the 10%, which includes the celebrities, for donations with some of the critical, or what they said was disparaging remarks towards the celebrities. I understand you're being critical, and you're free to do that. You're free to do your show. I was not trying to impede on that, but that little soundbite was taken totally out of context.
Okay, I understand that. I understand
is why people are confused about that.
I understand that. I understand that.
Because they took a soundbite, and that was ridiculous because they're achieving what they set out to do, which was cause division within the ADOS movement. But a lot of us are neophytes. We're doing all we can.
Hold on. I hear you. Hold on, I hear you, but it sounds like the gentleman disagrees. I forgot your name. It sounds like you disagree. You disagree?
Marlon doesn't get down with that part of it. No.
Well, that to me was trivial. I didn't want to participate in that. That was trivial to me. What we have is we're focusing on celebrity and personality. What we should be trying to focus on is reparations and a black agenda. That's more important. The mission is more important than any one person. And I think what I'm excited about is what I'm seeing all across the country in terms of the foot soldiers who don't know that much, from what I can tell, about political organizing, just based on some of the comments that I've been hearing. And I think where we're going to have our strength at is the fact that, and I want to use you as an example. Let's say if you go to D.C. and you're talking to a politician, I want you to imagine what happens when you're talking to a politician and they ask you, well, how many people are supporting you? And you're able to say that you have 2 million or more people supporting you in terms of an organization such as the NRA, which has over 2 million members, I'm sure, the American Federation of Teachers, which has about 2 million members. These are the folks that the politicians are listening to because they have a subscriber base.
But hold on. Let me just hold on. Wait a minute. When we got if we get to the level where we have that many people, that's what triggers it. At a moment when I have 73,000 subscribers, I'm not triggered to do that. You know why? Because my subscribers are my most ardent and they show up. Those are the people who show up every week. I know I don't have that many. So I don't need to go to that next stage to do it, because I know when I look at my subscriber count and how it's growing or not growing, I know I don't have that many people to do that. See, there's no need to go and get the structure when you don't have the people. You got to get the people first. And when you talk about organizing, I'm with you. I agree that on the level, that's what has to happen. You have to get the people. But getting the people means convincing your sister that she's an ADOS and convincing your sister that she needs reparations. I'm trying to do the same stuff with my family. Everybody crazy. So that's what you have to do. You have to convince people they have to be a part of this. That's how you get to the place where you say, hey, I got 2 million people. I'm going to do this thing right now, and I'm going to start my thing because I have the people to be the wind at my back. What I'm telling you right now, when I look at Antonio's subscriber base, when I look at mine, I'm telling you we don't have that. We don't have the people yet. We need ambassadors for ADOS, and I'm also telling you we don't have the money. The BLS tells us that. That's my position. Now I'm going to let you have the last word. I definitely understand what you were saying. I'm happy that you called to clear some of this up, and I'm going to let you all have the last word, and I'm going to get to a couple more calls before we get out of here.
Let me speak real quick, Marlon,
sure.
And then you can have it. Thank you, Yvette, for allowing us to speak.
No problem.
I believe we don't grow this to 2 million until we have the infrastructure.
I disagree. We just disagree.
On the call, Marlon.
We just disagree. You never grew anything by infrastructure. Movements have never needed infrastructure to grow. They've never needed it. Now, I'm not saying like the gentleman who called before that he can't start something or he can't start or whatever he wanted to start. I'm not telling him to do that. I told him, I said, if you like it, I love it. But in terms of a super PAC, you don't need a super PAC to grow into anything. That's not nothing you need. Because you ain't got no money. What you doing?
Okay. Well,
so that's just kind of where I am.
Well, if you got, just imagine, you're going to have Michael Bloomberg, I think, who's spent over $4 million. We don't have any directed activity in terms of, there are not many black organizations that you can go to where you'll have a group of people that are all in line with this agenda of reparations, with this agenda of having some policy implementation that's directed toward black people. You can't do that unless you're able to increase the number of elected officials at this point, which there are about 55 in Congress. We think with some directed activity and supporting ADOS candidates who believe in your agenda, that if we can increase that number to 110 members, that would be 25% of the House of Representatives. Now it's going to take some effort to do that.
The way you
that 25%.
No, the way you increase
the House of Representatives.
The way you increase people who respond to our agenda is by increasing the number of people. The number of people who are going to go vote and go do activism and who understand that they're ADOS. You have to, the power is with the people. The power is with the people. It's not with the candidates.
That's true.
The power is with the people.
I'm not going to argue with that, but here's what counters against that. If you want to act against data, I want you to think about if any president who has been elected has always been the president who has raised the most money. Why would super PACs exist? Why would leadership PACs exist? Why would all of these state PACs exist? Why
because
would
they
all
have
of these
money.
527 organizations exist?
Because they have money. Because they have money. They exist because these people have money.
These are structures that are set up. These are infrastructures that are government created.
They're not set up. They're not set up for the descendants of slaves. They're not set up for. They're not set up for wealthless groups.
But also,
they're not set up for wealthless groups. We have to do it a different way. They're not set up for wealthless groups. They're not set up for us.
I'm
gonna let you. I'm gonna give you all one more minute because I have to get some other people in.
Okay.
Let me say this part. I want you to imagine 2 million members. We're looking at let's just say if 2 million members could contribute $30 a year.
No. Let me push back. I have 73,000 subscribers. What? I don't know where you getting these 2 million people from. Like y'all are just grabbing numbers out of the air. Like if we look ADOS 73,000, where are you getting 2 million from?
We're not talking. We're talking about Friends of ADOS PAC. We're not.
How many members are in Friends of ADOS PAC? How many members?
We just started the organization.
No, you told me 2 million. You say what I'm telling you is that these hypotheticals don't make sense. You're like, well, what if we have 2 million people? What if I have a Mockingbird and a Jelly Jam? What is that?
Understand the infrastructure, Yvette. With all due respect to you, you're a brilliant person, but you don't understand how organizations work.
I do. You don't have people.
Organization, just by virtue of setting that up, that makes us accountable before a court of law.
That does, but you don't have people. You don't have people. You don't have people, though.
You as an individual, you don't have that responsibility. You don't have that accountability. You can say, well, I didn't say that.
No. This is a straw man. This is a straw man argument. I'm not arguing against the accountability of an entity. That's not the conversation I'm having. I'm telling you don't have people. I'm telling you we don't have people. So I'm telling you that your hypothetical about what if 2 million doesn't make sense. That's what I'm telling you. That hypothetical is pulled out of the air and makes no sense in terms of where ADOS is right now in terms of numbers.
Let me tell you what you created. As far as I know, you helped to create 30 chapters at least in 30 different places. Maybe even 30 different states. We've already talked to some of those groups. We have 9 different states already What I'm saying to you is that part of our mission is also to provide technical assistance to create the state federations, right? We're talking about 50 states and some territories.
Okay.
We're talking about local chapters. That's how you're going to get that 2 million.
That's what you say. That's what you say. But all the evidence tells me that we're a long way from that 2 million. That we're a long, and even if you get to that 2 million, we ain't got no money. So I don't know what you're doing in Super PAC. I want to let her have her last word, and then I got to go back to the calls.
Okay.
Thank you.
No problem.
Just real quick is that let me explain. I donate to the Super PAC. I donate to you. I donate to other candidates. I donate. And so what I'm saying is, I don't think it's a hard thing for us to achieve $30 per member per year to help us build a super PAC to support our candidates who are speaking full-chested about reparations and a black agenda. I'm talking about aggregated dollars amongst the ADOS. I'm a proud ADOS member. I love your work. I love Tone's work. I love everyone, black and strong. And I thank you for giving us the space to speak on our own behalf outside of that soundbite.
No
Thank
problem.
you. You're making a phenomenal rest of the evening.
No problem. We can agree to disagree, but I appreciate you all for calling and having the conversation. So thank you. I appreciate that. 310, we coming back. 310, what's going on?
Yeah, this is Tone Talk. People in the chat asked me to call back. I'm just giving, my opinion is, I felt that, the woman was more respectful than the gentleman to you. I don't know if that's about sex. I don't know if that's about respect of your expertise. I don't think see, the thing is, as much as I know about celebrity and all this stuff, you know about politics. And so you get these people with these ideas that don't make sense. Hold on, let me check this line. You with me? Is it?
I'm with you.
He said we got 55. He said Adolf has 55 members in Congress already. Didn't he say that?
Yeah, something like
that.
that.
One of them believes in Adolf being like the way that black people should see themselves. That's why they were all in Africa.
Yeah.
So Adolf doesn't have any members in Congress. You don't know that? See, like he said, all we need to do is grow 55 people to 110. We don't have 55 members. You don't even know what I know about Clyburn and Meeks. I know with Comcast, there's a reason there was silence. You have no idea what you're talking about. You're just talking about infrastructure things. See, you know what this is? This is the political version of voice watching. That's why it's so frustrating for you, Yvette. It's a bunch of $25 a head type of ideas. None of that's going to do what we're talking about. See, another thing he said is what? He said that the person that's won the presidency did what? Raised the most money, right? That's what he said.
Yep.
We live in a Trump-Bloomberg era where people don't need to raise no money. They just need to tell people not to give you none. So all of the things that you said fall apart. I'm saying to you, I don't want to do what you're talking about. I'm not saying you can't do it aside from Adolf somewhere else, but you can't piggyback that on my project because what it does is it guts my project because people get tired of listening to you with your nitpicking nonsense. See, you say, oh, they soundbite. There should be no soundbite in your video that they can soundbite. That's why they was able to do it because you said some old slick stuff. Let's call it what it is. And I don't want to. I want to let other people get in here, but my main thing is just to say they're basically taking the slavery out of race. They don't want to deal with the fact. Pull up the BLS data just so we can really keep. Because the woman said one thing, and I need everybody to understand this anchoring. Because then he said data. Then he said data doesn't matter, and then he said data matters again. Well, this piece of data is the most important that you're going to hear tonight. The BLS data shows that the middle black family makes $35,000 combined. That's what they live on, and that's why they work $8. Only 10% of black families, when you look at the chart, I sent you the other version that actually shows it by percentage. Only 10% break $87,000. This was done in 2010 before the gig economy. Before a lot of the blacks retired from their government jobs. So it's worse now, not better. Understand that 10% overrepresented with Caribbeans, Africans, and biracials. I'm not giving a judgment. I'm just telling you, they have much more representation in the higher income jobs. For the biracials, because they have a white parent, which takes them out of the ADOS population. The white parent elevates them and balloons them more often than not. And for the West Africans and the Caribbean, they don't come from American slavery and the way American slavery gutted you from opportunity. So we don't even have a true 10% above 87,000 in income. But 87,000, according to the Pew Research, is the middle income. It is the median middle income in America for a family. I don't know how you tell us we're not incomeless when the DLS data tells us we're incomeless. Because what this really means is that after you pay your bills, you have nothing left. We told you this. We showed it to you. Not only using wealth, but using income, and you told us we'll find the money anyway. When we come over to black celebrity, when we come over to people saying that we're divisive, there's no way to do this in an America which is basically saying that American descendants of slavery shouldn't be the only recipient of reparations for U.S. slavery than to be divisive. And if you don't want to be part of that, that's fine. That's just not this project. And I'll let Yvette get her word. Thank you so much.
Appreciate it, Tom. Appreciate it. As always, Tom comes and breaks down all the numbers with the charts and everything. Ooh, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. I'm probably only go to like one or two other callers because it's late. Let me go to 617. 617, what's going on?
Hey, Yvette, it's Reggie. Thank you for taking my call.
No problem, Reggie. What's going on?
Very interesting conversation. I'm not going to deal specifically with the specific PAC that we're talking about, but I'd say in generally, I do like the idea of a PAC or a super PAC. I like the aspiration of a super PAC, but I believe I've said this like a lot of shows back when we were talking about black business or aggregating our funds, that you have to control for the cost of blackness. And I think that's what's missing from a lot of that conversation when we talk about let's put our money together. And you've given examples, Boston, for example, $8 in wealth. And if you break it down in terms of the numbers, I could get 30,000 people, or not even 30,000 people, Yvette, 30,000 ADOS families in the city of Boston. And we say we are going to pool our wealth together. It only takes one white family to say, you're not going to do that.
Yep.
Now I can turn around and take those 30,000 families and go to City Hall, or I can go to the State House, or I could take some and go to Washington, D.C. and say I have 30,000 people with votes. That can make a difference. It really has to be a ground up instead of a top down, because as y'all said, the wealth is just calcified, and how you said there was a point you said that you said that we can't advocate based on our aspiration. We have to advocate based on our reality.
Yeah,
I feel like it falls under the same thing in terms of organization. We cannot organize based on the idea of if I had X amount of members. I got like, when I counted, we got about like 10 people, over here in Boston, and my peoples in Connecticut, they got about like 10, 15, 20 that showed up. Mm-hmm. That's the reality, and that's where you start from, and that's where you build from. You can't say, well, I'm the Federation of Massachusetts, and I'm about to take this over, and I'm gonna try to wrap it up, and just want to kind of throw out some questions if we're going to talk numbers and dollars. I want y'all to answer for me. How much money did it take for us to get Ayanna Presley to call for reparations and her justice guarantee. How much money did it cost for our brothers and sisters in California to get the Urban League, Los Angeles, to go against the National? How much money did it cost for the people in Jersey to get the NAACP to shut down the Harriet screening? List goes on. That was people power.
People power. There you go.
If like, how much did it cost to get Marianne Williamson on the stage to talk about reparations?
Right.
Like, how much money did it cost to get all of these co-sponsors on HR 40 where there were none before? If we don't start with people power, nothing else makes sense. We don't have the money. I like the money. I like the idea. I'm not against having one, but like I said, control for blackness. Do it from a point of where you're at, or it's a wrap. We don't do nothing but data. Deal with the data before the data deals with you. That's what we love to say, right?
Always. That's what you said, and that's perfect. Absolutely.
Thank you, Yvette.
No, thank you. I appreciate it, fam. I know everybody's in the queue. We gotta go. I'm so sorry. I apologize. I didn't know that we got things to go. I was gonna go that long. It's not my fault. Anyway, I want to thank everybody who called in. I am sorry if I didn't get to you, because it'll be next week before I get to you. It'll be because remember, we're not going to be here Wednesday. If you know somebody who didn't say, what's the show at? Remember that we're not going to be here. We're not going to be here on Wednesday. I will be in Louisville, and we will be talking about, when I am in Louisville, we will be talking about our next book club book that you all should pick up. We will be talking about the color of money, black banks, and the racial wealth gap. So we will be having that conversation. Pick up that book now, or do your Audible, or however you get your books. Please do that, and just get ready, because we are going to, I will give a date soon. I haven't put the date up yet for the book, but it'll probably be the last Thursday. Well, no, I don't know. But it might be the last Thursday in March, somewhere around that time. So prepare for a late March, or maybe early April book club. So just get your mindset for that, family. If we didn't get to you next time, hopefully you can get in and we can have the conversation. Until then, fam, hit that like button for me. Please hit that like button for me. Hit the like button. And if you want to donate, as always, go to donatebrown.com, patreon.com/ycarnell. But make sure you hit that bell. Hit that bell if you haven't hit that bell. If you haven't subscribed, or you go subscribe to brown.com. And give me your email address. Cost you nothing. Like hitting that like button right now costs you nothing, and it's a way to contribute. Until next time, fam, I'll be traveling tomorrow, so I probably won't be on. I haven't been on Twitter as much anyway, but I probably won't be there. So, fam, until next time, be easy breezy. Don't get your blood pressure up. Finish your libations and get some sleep. Get some rest. We will talk soon.